Right now, somewhere in a desert bunker, a cold mountain lab, maybe even a server room under a city you'll never visit. Someone is copying your data. Not because they can read it today, but because they know they'll read it tomorrow. Your emails, your medical history, your crypto wallet, your government's secrets. All of it is being quietly sucked into massive storage vaults for one reason. Harvest now, decrypt later, because the people collecting your data, they're waiting for this. Welcome to the quantum horizon, where physics becomes a weapon, finance becomes a playground, and cybersecurity stops being real. We need to get one thing straight. A quantum computer isn't a faster laptop. It's not an upgrade. It's a jailbreak. Classical computers think in ones and zeros, on or off, heads or tails. You know the drill. But a qubit? A qubit is a coin spinning on the table. While it spins, it's not heads, not tails. It's both. Multiply that by 100 qubits, 200, 1000. And suddenly you're exploring more possibilities at once than atoms in the visible universe. That's not computing. That's brute forcing reality. Here's where it gets unfair. Entanglement. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance, which is scientists speak for. Yeah, that shouldn't be happening. Two qubits can link together so tightly that changing one instantly affects the other, even across continents. Add more qubits, and your computational power doesn't double, it explodes. And the hardware? It looks like something stolen from a sci-fi cathedral. Massive gold plates, spiraling copper coils, descending rings. Engineers call it a dilution refrigerator. Most people call it, what the hell is that? At the very bottom sits the quantum chip, kept at 15 millikelvin, colder than outer space. Why? Because even one photon of heat, one microscopic whisper of energy, can erase the computation. This chandelier isn't decoration. It's a life support machine for physics itself. Now let's talk money. Because quantum computing doesn't just break encryption, it breaks markets. Portfolio optimization? Yeah, that thing analysts pretend they fully understand. Quantum systems solve it like they're speed running a puzzle game. Classical computers test portfolios one by one. Quantum systems, they test millions at once. It's the difference between walking a maze and being water. Banks using QAOA and quantum annealing can find the true global optimum portfolio, not the "that'll do for today" version Wall Street has been using since the 1950s. A few extra basis points of return doesn't sound exciting until you multiply it by trillions. Risk modeling? Quantum turns overnight Monte Carlo simulations into real-time dashboards. Right now, today, banks run millions of simulations to guess, how screwed are we if the market crashes tomorrow? But by the time the simulation finishes, the market's already changed. Quantum doesn't care. Quantum does it instantly. That means the first bank with a working quantum risk engine won't predict the next crash. They'll see it forming in real time, like a weather radar for financial disasters. And high-frequency trading? Oh, buckle up, because this is where the playing field stops being a field and becomes a cliff. Today's HFT firms chase microcorrelations. If this asset twitches, that one jumps. It's kindergarten stuff. Quantum algorithms don't look for correlations. They look for entangled behaviors across hundreds of assets at once. Patterns so complex, classical computers can't even represent them, let alone exploit them. Quantum arbitrage isn't millisecond faster. It's dimensions faster. The first hedge fund to deploy a real quantum model, they get a God view of the entire market. Everyone else? They're just guessing. And then there's fraud. Billions of transactions a day. Needles in cosmic scale haystacks. Classical machine learning tries to draw a boundary between fraud and not fraud. But real financial crime hides in the weird, the subtle, the statistically inconvenient. Quantum machine learning doesn't draw boundaries. It reshapes the entire mathematical space the data lives in. Meaning, fraud that used to be invisible suddenly pops out like a flare in the night. JP Morgan, BBVA, HSBC, they're already running prototypes. Because whoever solves fraud at scale doesn't just save billions, they change global finance forever. But here's the twist nobody expects. Quantum computing isn't just about money. It's about infrastructure, literal civilization-level optimization, power grids, water networks, shipping routes, air traffic systems, emergency response planning. Every one of these is a giant optimization problem. And today, we run them on classical computers that can barely handle Google Maps on a busy day. Quantum changes that. Quantum treats national infrastructure like a solvable puzzle. It can cut energy waste by 30 to 40%, slash shipping fuel costs, eliminate traffic jams, prevent rolling blackouts before they start. Quantum isn't a tool. It's an operating system for entire countries. And if you think AI is powerful now, wait until you plug quantum into it. Today's AI models are bottlenecked by two things: data size and compute cost. Quantum eats both problems alive. In a quantum-enhanced AI system, models learn faster, patterns emerge instantly, entire industries compress decades of progress into months. Drug discovery, materials science, climate modeling, new physics, everything accelerates. AI tells you the pattern. Quantum tells you the deeper truth inside it. But there's a problem, a huge one. There aren't enough people who understand this stuff. Quantum computer scientists, cryogenic engineers, error correction theorists, quantum-safe cybersecurity architects. Combine all of them, and you get maybe 30,000 qualified humans on Earth. Meanwhile, nations are hiring hundreds of thousands. This isn't a talent gap, it's a talent vacuum. The countries that win the quantum workforce win the century. And here's the part nobody wants to admit. Most countries won't make it. Quantum isn't democratized like AI. You can't run it on a laptop. You can't train it in your bedroom. You need cryogenic labs, national budgets, specialized supply chains, allies, talent pipelines. Nations that fall behind in quantum won't just be behind in tech. They'll be behind in defense, finance, medicine, and national stability itself. Quantum won't reshape the world equally. It will split it. Now we enter the part nobody wants to hear. The same machine that can optimize your investments can also erase the idea of digital security. Every lock we use online, your bank login, your WhatsApp chats, your medical records, your Bitcoin wallet, the login that powers your country's electricity grid, they're all protected by math problems the world believes are impossible to solve. Quantum doesn't solve them. Quantum obliterates them. Rivest, Shamir Edelman, RSA. Elliptic curve cryptography, ECC. Encryption systems we've trusted for 40 years. Quantum tears through them like wet paper if it gets enough qubits. And the blueprint for doing it? Peter Shaw wrote it back in 1994. The world just ignored it. Until now. Here's the truth we never admitted publicly. Our digital world doesn't run on code. It runs on trust. Trust that your bank knows who you are. Trust that your boss signed the wire transfer. Trust that the message you got actually came from your wife. Trust that the machinery running your city hasn't been tampered with. Strip away digital trust, and society doesn't slow down. It collapses instantly. Quantum doesn't hack computers. Quantum hacks certainty. And here comes the gut punch, the part nobody prepared for. It's already too late for a lot of people. Right now, foreign intelligence agencies, cybercrime syndicates, and private groups you've never heard of are vacuuming up encrypted data by the terabyte. Medical records, DNA databases, diplomatic messages, corporate mergers, private texts, cloud backups, all of it sucked into cold storage. They can't read it today, but they know something you don't. Data has a long memory, and encryption has an expiration date. So they store it. They wait, because one day, when the first cryptographically relevant quantum computer comes online, everything encrypted before that moment will be readable. This isn't a theory. It's an active intelligence operation called Harvest Now, Decrypt Later. Think about the shelf life of your secrets. Your DNA doesn't expire. Your therapy notes don't expire. Your medical conditions don't expire. Your government's classified documents, they stay relevant for decades. Healthcare systems store data that's still valuable in 2080. Defense agencies store data that's still dangerous in 2050. Corporations store data that can still bankrupt them in 2040. If your data has decades of value, and your country hasn't migrated to post-quantum cryptography yet, the breach has already happened. You just haven't felt it. And while we're here, let's talk about the elephant sitting on a digital pile of $1 trillion. Bitcoin. Bitcoin uses ECC. Quantum breaks ECC. You can do the math. If a quantum attacker cracks a public key, they can drain the wallet instantly. And you know what's truly terrifying? Some of the biggest Bitcoin wallets in existence belong to a mysterious figure we haven't heard from in more than a decade, Satoshi Nakamoto. And Satoshi's coins? They sit in the older, weaker address format that exposes the public key directly. If a quantum adversary ever moves those coins, the entire crypto market will implode in minutes. Not because of the coins, but because trust will evaporate. Let's run the simulation. Q-Day, the day someone gets a real quantum computer and decides to use it. Phase 1, 8 a.m., the silent breach. No malware, no phishing email, no insider threat. A quantum machine simply takes a bank's public key and derives the private key. No alarms go off. Nothing looks unusual, because, mathematically, the attacker is now the bank. Phase 2, 9 a.m., the forgery. Billion-dollar transactions begin moving across SWIFT. Every transfer is signed, with the CEO's real digital signature. The bank's own systems confirm the transactions as legitimate, because how do you question the one thing the entire digital world is built on? The signature. Phase 3, 10:30 a.m., the confusion. Security teams panic. Every dashboard is flashing red. But the logs insist, approved by Chief Financial Officer. Except the CFO is sitting right there, staring at the logs like they're written by ghosts. This is the moment the financial system realizes its truth engine is broken. Phase 4, 12 p.m., the freeze. The bank has no choice. It disconnects from the global network. Trading halted, transfers halted, withdrawals halted, everything dead. And the news leaks. Phase 5, 1 p.m., the run. Customers rush to withdraw money from banks that can no longer prove who they're talking to. ATMs freeze, mobile apps lock out, interbank lending evaporates. A digital pandemic spreads. Nobody trusts digital signatures anymore. And without signatures, finance stops existing. Airports stop boarding passengers. Because identity can't be verified. Hospitals shut down networked equipment because authenticity checks fail. Power plants disconnect remote controls because commands cannot be trusted. This is what a post-trust world looks like. A world where the digital nervous system simply shuts itself off. The quantum Cold War isn't coming. It's already here. Two nations stand at the center of it: the United States and China. Two strategies, two philosophies, one finish line. On one side, you have Google's Willow chip, 105 qubits, verified quantum advantage, stability that nobody thought possible in 2025. On the other side, China's Zhuchongji 3.0, same qubit class, same ambitions, backed by a state that can mobilize entire industries overnight. This isn't a science race. It's a race for power. In the United States, quantum innovation is messy, chaotic, explosive. Universities, startups, tech giants, private capital pulling the field in 10 directions at once. In China, the approach is the opposite: centralized, coordinated, massively funded. Every lab, every university, every supply chain marching in lockstep. One model creates breakthroughs out of chaos. The other creates breakthroughs out of discipline. Both are working. And here's the part nobody says out loud. Quantum supremacy isn't just a scientific milestone. It's a deterrent. Whoever builds the first cryptographically relevant quantum computer, the first machine capable of breaking global encryption, will suddenly possess leverage. The kind of leverage you can't declare, can't flaunt, can't use openly, but every intelligence agency will feel it like pressure on the throat. Quantum isn't just a computing race, it's a supply chain war. Dilution refrigerators, superconducting components, cryogenic amplifiers, electron beam lithography systems, high-purity isotopes. You can't build a quantum computer without a shopping list that reads like the inventory of a small universe. That's why the United States has turned the quantum supply chain into a strategic weapon. Export controls, sanctions, licensing bans, technology restrictions. The goal? Slow China down, starve the competition, turn physics itself into a geopolitical chokehold. In the 20th century, it was oil. In the 21st, it's chips. In the 22nd, it might be qubits. National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, has already chosen the new cryptographic standards: ML-KEM, MLDSA, SAHDSA, algorithms built to survive the quantum storm. But choosing the standards was the easy part. Now we have to rebuild the entire internet, while the plane is still flying, through a hurricane, with 5 billion passengers on board. This isn't a software update. This is a planetary reboot. Every bank, every hospital, every airport, every government database, every corporate cloud, every blockchain node, every router in every living room. All of it has to be rebuilt. Migrating to PQC takes time. Your secrets must stay safe for time. Quantum computers need time to be built. If migration time plus secrecy time is greater than quantum arrival time, your data is already compromised. For healthcare, we're past the threshold. For intelligence agencies, past the threshold. For corporate secrets, past the threshold. Right now, every country on Earth sits somewhere on a quantum preparedness curve. Some nations are sprinting, some are walking, most are crawling, a few are still tying their shoes. The uncomfortable truth? Quantum will not reshuffle global power. It will amplify it. Countries that already have strong economies, strong universities, strong manufacturing ecosystems, strong cyber infrastructures, they will adapt. Countries that don't will fall behind for 50 years, maybe longer. And that creates something far more dangerous than a Cold War. It creates a quantum divide, a world split between nations that can protect their data and nations that can't. Nations that can model their economies and nations flying blind. Nations that can defend their infrastructure and nations exposed to quantum-level threats they can't even detect. Quantum computing isn't good. It isn't evil. It's gravity. It doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care what you built. It doesn't care how long you've been in power. It can cure diseases by simulating proteins the universe never meant us to understand. It can rebuild financial markets into machines of perfect efficiency. It can uncover fraud, predict systemic risk, optimize entire economies in real time. But it can also collapse banks, erase privacy, and turn national secrets into public knowledge in the time it takes to factor a number. Quantum is the most powerful tool humans have ever built, and like every tool, it reflects the hand that holds it. We are standing at the edge of a decade that will redefine everything about the digital world we take for granted. Some nations are ready. Some companies are preparing. Some agencies understand the danger. Most people don't. Not because they're ignorant, but because the threat is invisible, silent, mathematical. By the time the danger becomes obvious, it will already be too late to react. Quantum forces us to ask questions we've never had to ask before. What does privacy mean in a world where encryption dies? What does trust mean when signatures can be forged? What does power mean when the strongest weapon is a calculator? We've never lived in a future where math itself can be used as a weapon, but that's the world we're walking into. And in the end, there's only one question that matters. Not, when will quantum computers arrive? Not, who will build the first one? Not even, how powerful will they be? The real question is, will we be ready when they do? Because Q-Day isn't a date on a calendar, it's a deadline, and that deadline is getting closer. Every single day. Stay curious, stay prepared, and stay aware of the future before it arrives. Thank you for watching. If this helped you see the future a little clearer, like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what comes next.